Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special Break in the Clouds and Wacky Woo. Tonight, of course, we have JSNIP4. You can find him at Realist News and JSNIP4 2 here on YouTube. And you can also find Penny Kelly at Penny Kelly here on YouTube. Let's give them both a big warm welcome back to the show. Penny and Joe, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Yep, always. I was gonna say it's pleasant. Sometimes it's not so pleasant when you got so much high-end whatever stuff to talk about, but it's still always good to be here.
Yeah.
Be back.
Well, that we do. There's so much going on, even in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, and I'm like, oh my God, are we going to be able to put this all in a 1 hour show? So, folks, first of all, thank you so much for joining us here on this live interactive show on a Sunday evening. Of course, this is my fourth show today between the two pay-per-views and the two live streams. I'm trying to take 2 days off. That's what I get for this summer for me and Sarah, Monday and Tuesday. So I put all my shows forward and a few back at the end of this week here. So please bear with me, guys, as I try to finish tonight before I take a little bit of a breather. So thank you so much, everyone. And I'm sorry again for starting a little bit late here. We're trying to get all of our ducks in a row before we start. So first, Penny, can you give a quick update to the audience as to why, again, I was inviting you to the show here tonight to give you a voice? Because, again, apparently somebody took away your voice. So can you please tell the audience what's going on at your YouTube channel right now?
Oh, that darn YouTube. Yeah, they think they are something special. You know, their turn is coming. Somebody's going to take them down. So, yeah, I have another week before I can post. We've had 2 strikes. But I think the big subject for tonight, as far as I'm concerned, well, there were 2 or 3. One was the Trump considerations that I had talked about or tried to talk about last time, and I was not very organized. And then I had a couple things to say about the financial system. And then I was going to share my shock about the loss of Robert David Steele. So,
yeah. Say that last part. You kind of broke up. What was the last part you just said?
The loss of Robert David Steele.
Ah, RDS. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, specifically tonight, what are the 3 main points that we're going to talk about, just so the audience kind of knows how we're going to map the show here? You mentioned the first thing, I believe. Go ahead.
The biggest one is McAfee, John McAfee news, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I did send myself a couple things. One of them was David Morton Steele, or Robert David Steele.
Yeah.
And what was this other thing I sent myself? Oh yeah, just really mainly those are the 2 things, but that's
what.
And Joe, also maybe crypto updates here, because in the last couple of days I just recorded the Beyond Crypto Woo with Janine, and we were trying to pull some cards on whether or not we would see that elusive crash that many people are waiting for in order to fill those low buying orders. So I've got some updates on that. We're going to share that with the audience. So folks, we have a full pack show here tonight, but let's start here. Penny, in the last couple of days, I got a ton of email. People are saying, Jean-Claude, can you reach out to Penny? I think she's gone mad. We're so worried about her. What's going on, Jean-Claude? So I'm like, okay, right.
Hey,
Let's invite Penny back on the show. We had a beginning of this conversation last week, which was kind of impromptu, and maybe we didn't do enough of a good job setting the stage for why we were just having an adult conversation. Let's start there, Penny. Let me give you the floor.
We had a great conversation when the show was over. And we said, oh, we should have recorded this, but it was too late.
Right.
So what I did after that was to really sit down and organize my thoughts so that I could present what I was trying to say in a way that made sense and in a way that was like, okay, these questions keep coming up to me and I don't have answers for these, but I think we need to look at these questions, you know, all sorts of questions around Trump. And so I wrote those up, put it up on, I don't know if it's on you. Well, I guess it's not on YouTube, but it's probably on Odyssey. It's on Patreon. But the things that I think are really important that I want to say is that I'm not trying to destroy people's ideas or attitudes about Trump. I'm not getting. I love what Trump has done in red pilling everybody. He has stirred the pot, and brought up some of the crud from the bottom, and we've been able to see that. So that's been really very good. In terms of what I'm saying is there's answers that I haven't been able to answer, and when things start piling up, when the questions start piling up, that's a signal that says, have you looked at these? Have you thought about these? Are we doing critical thinking, or are we saying, no, I only want Trump. He's going to come. He's going to save us. He's going to do all these things. And I have said for a long time, I think it's going to be up to us. We're the ones in the squeeze gate. Squeeze gate is where you put people to give them a shot, put a cow to give the cow a shot, or clean their hooves or whatever, and they can't move. They don't have any options. So we are in the squeeze gates, and the gates are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And so, there's some things that I don't really have answers to, but I think we need to hold the question out there and look honestly at what, the worry that I had actually came from Cliff High.
Okay, hold on a second here, Penny. I wanted to ask you exactly that. So I just put the link here to this episode. So for the folks who haven't seen that episode, I do recommend you go back and watch it now. Penny and I and Joe, we're not going to rehash all those same arguments. It was a lovely conversation. Please do go check that out. But please now, Penny, for this audience, mention why you got into this track with one of these last interviews, which was the Next Level Woo with Cliff High, where he discussed an unearthing. Start with that.
He called it the unburying. And I'm in the kitchen cooking, making my supper and trying to listen because I have so little time. And he mentions this unburying coming up around November 11th. And he said something to the effect of, maybe there's going to be something turn up archaeological in nature. I'm busy chopping carrots and thought, no, it wasn't even a thought. It was just this spontaneous thing that came up that said, no, it's going to be the truth about Trump. And that just shocked me. It was like, is that a good truth or a bad truth? But the feeling that came with it was that people would be disillusioned. And that then led to, do we need to prepare in some way for a major disillusionment? I don't know. So all we can do is watch and see. But I'm not against Trump. I love what he has done in waking people up, and I've listened. I continue to listen to a lot of things when I get a chance. I just drove back from the East Coast today, so I'm a little punchy as well. But listened to a few more things and thought, okay, they're moving along. There's one question I haven't been able to answer or haven't been able to justify. And that is Trump working with Bill Gates?
Okay.
All the rest. I know all the intel. I know all the responses.
Right. So. Okay, very good. And I appreciate you said that too, because in the last show we did talk about some, and people kept emailing me, and there's this. I'm like, Penny knows all that. We're just trying to look at the bigger picture and step back and see if that all fits. So let me ask you, Joe, here. Let me bring you up here quickly, and I'm going to mute Penny here. We're seeing to be some echo. Joe, you and I last year did this show, the Mr. T and 17 plus 12 minus 11 minus 2 letter of the alphabet thing. We were asking the question, and we were having this debate on whether or not it could potentially be a big psyop, and whether or not we were being conned again. And even though you and I were having a frank discussion about all the amazing things that he had done, and that this group and this board had also done in the awakening process, we kept looking back and back and back to make sure, wait, is this just the next level con? Because we had been con with the previous administration and the one before that, and it was always, later, and we were just asking these questions. And my God, I think I had like 3,000 comments on that one video. It's the biggest commented video I ever had. So let's talk about now, a year later. Do you still feel that it's appropriate also now to look back at what we think we know, to always make sure that we're walking on those solid planks, even if that means having sometimes difficult conversations, difficult questions about things that we're still not thinking about, but we're afraid to mention because people will say, oh my God, you're an anti-patriot, you're asking a question. Joe, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. My biggest thing with Trump was, and still is, why is he continually pushing the thing in your arm? And his ass got booed off, not off the stage, but he got booed. And he's like, no, hey, you guys have personal choice. Hey, if anybody gets hurt, I'll be the first to know. You'll be the first to know. Or whatever he said, like wink, wink, whatever. I try to come up with my mind why he'd have to do that. Why did they have to show Ivanka doing it? Like, why did that even have to happen? All of the letter of the alphabet thing behind Ivanka in the picture, there's a QR code, like there's a thing, a certain letter in between the partitions, like letting, like, red alert, this is information, so I know we're showing you this. So, but again, like, why did they have to do that? I don't understand. But I still don't think we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled. We were listening. So after you guys had that conversation, I think Penny did another one of her own videos to say, basically, here's what I said, and where she got her thoughts collected again. So me and my wife were out to eat, and I go, oh, let's listen to this in the car on the way home. I want to see what she has to say. So we listened to it all the way home, and my wife, oh, see, I told you, oh, yep, I told you. I'm like, Evelyn, you do this every time. I'll hear your shit for months, and then I go, boop, got you. Told you so. I get 1 second of fame. So I said, listen, I don't think anything's going to change. I think he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. There's no way any of us would be given a date, honestly, even though we thought we deciphered things. I think he meant this or that, whatever. Because if we could do it, certainly as hell the deep state could do it, and then know, oh, okay, we got this going on at this time, and the jig would be up. So same with the Arizona thing. Oh, next Monday he got sick with COVID. So the other guy. So no, we're not going to do the results of Arizona yet. Again, it's like a little chess piece, move, and counter moves. But the funny thing was that very night, which I'm only talking a few days, a couple of days ago. I go to bed, Evelyn goes to bed, and sometimes she'll get these dreams where she's got information coming in, and it's not just a dream. She was the one that nailed the 22 XRP thing that I thought was insane. So she gets this dream in the middle of the night, and she's like, oh my God, I went to go pee, and in the middle of the night, and I'm like thinking of this dream I just woke up out of. There was so many things in there. It was almost like a timeline of this, then this, then this, like it was different things. And oh my God, I wanted to just do it, but then I'm like, well, if I say something, I don't want to wake him up. You're sleeping. I'm like, you should have woke me up. Like, what are you talking about? Wake me up, or at least take your phone out and email yourself, voice the text, and so you can remember. I'm like, I want to know, it's shit. I'm not gonna be mad for being woken up. It's like I gotta wake up at 6 a.m. and go to work anymore. Those days are over. Working for somebody else. So I'm like, damn it. But she goes, I remembered 3 things. There was a UFO crash. And the main thing was, she goes, Trump. She goes, and I knew what you were saying, but that's the part. She goes, I forgot it with the rest of it. She goes, but I remember you were on the phone in this dream, and you're like telling somebody, or they were telling you something about Trump, and you're like, see, I told you, like really happy, really excited about that. And but I don't know. She goes, I can't remember what now. And there was even more to that, and other things that I just missed. Because I forgot and thought I'd remembered all in the morning. She goes, now I'm forgetting it. I'm mad. I'm like, son of a bitch, man. So, it is what it is. But looking at this Telegram thing right now, man, McAfee.
Okay, we'll get into that in a second here. Let me just mute your mic, make sure we don't have any echo here, Joe. So first, let me address this one here. Mike in the chat says, Tarot reader Janine disagrees with this conversation. Actually, Mike, that's not true. Janine absolutely agrees with having these conversations and making sure that we were walking on solid planks and to always question what we think we know. I just had that conversation again with her today in our last pay-per-view episode, and we had it again last Wednesday also on the live stream. Where she differs is to some of the answers, perhaps to the why. And so Joe just talked about why this Operation Warp Speed. So to that point here, there is still some questions to that. And again, I don't want to get into the last show I did with Benny Kelly. We went into detail, but very quickly here, we brought up Cliff High's opinion that perhaps we couldn't reproach Mr. T for Operation Warp Speed no more than we can reproach a military commander who's sending troops to Normandy Beach, knowing full well that there would be some deaths, but in the overall picture, there would be less deaths involved in this perfect strategic war that they're trying to put in place. So that's one position. And I understand some people agree with that, some people don't agree with that, but that's not the issue here today. We're just looking, because of what Penny just mentioned. Let me bring Penny back on the screen here. She talked about this unearthing, and she cued and she got the download that perhaps we would learn something about Mr. T that we did not already know. And what I had this conversation again here with Janine earlier today, and we said, yes, if that were true, that we would find out something, good or bad, it would still send shockwaves through everyone right now, because as Penny and I said in the after show last week, we're clinging right now. We've been screwed with so much, lied to, obfuscated, messed with to every degree that right now we're just clinging by our nails. And anything that might change right now in our worldview is very, very stressful for everybody. And Penny, Joe, and I completely understand that. And this is why still we're having this conversation, so that we don't have that feeling, but maybe step back from the results or from being married to a specific idea. We need to be chasing the facts, the truths, and we are moving into the age of Aquarius. And so we need to put that attention there, even though it's unpleasant. So that being said, I wanted to introduce this new piece of the puzzle in here. In this last interview with Tom by the numbers, I forget what the other lady's name is. It escapes me now, Janine. And this individual here named -48. He's a similar type of 107, and some would suggest that maybe a level above 107 in terms of clearance and insider information. So if you guys haven't seen these videos yet, go check them out. They're mostly on BitChute because YouTube deletes them at every pass. Now, what just came out in the last couple of days was that perhaps, and this is -48, he was saying that perhaps Trump was the biological son of General Patton.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, every time you said that kept coming into my head, Patton. Oh, you said again, Patton. I'm like, I wonder if. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's where perhaps, and why we're having this conversation. Penny was picking that up in the field a couple of weeks ago, that something would come up in our conversation where we would question maybe the origin or something that had to do with who we thought this individual was, and it could shake us. So the whole point of us having this conversation is to attune ourselves to the fact that maybe we would have to adjust our worldview, maybe to eventually make a decision that we don't trust, or to reaffirm a decision that we do trust, but still we would need to traverse maybe new information. Okay. Again, I know, guys, this is weird. It's called the Wacky Woo for a reason. I have the Breaking the Clouds here, but it's actually a Wacky Woo episode. So it is wacky. So now let me ask you this, Penny, as you're listening to this, and you're going back to that statement where you watched that video with Clefine and said, okay, there's this unearthing or this unburying of something, and you figured it had something to do with. Is it possible that this character is coming up now, and this is what you were picking up in the field, that we would eventually have a conversation about the origin of who this person is? Does it fit? And even at 5%, does it fit? Or what are your thoughts on all of this?
I hadn't heard that until just tonight, when we got on. But if he is the biological descendant of Patton, my question would be, is that where he gets his ballsiness from? Is that where he there'd be questions along that line. But other than that, I have never been able to understand what it is that people put in bloodlines, why they put stock in that. So I haven't paid attention to that even though, say, my own blood is very, very different. And so it's like, okay, maybe I'm the way I am because of my own blood, which comes out of a bloodline in Ireland that is very ancient, and Spain. And so anyway, that whole thing about him becoming or being recognized as a child or son of Patton, my question would be, okay, yeah, if he is, then what? So what? What do we think? What do we do? What does that make a difference? Why would that make a difference to us? And so maybe I'm just asking ignorant questions, but my thinking is, let's look at the man, watch what he does. It isn't his name, it isn't his bloodline, it's what he's doing today or tomorrow, or what he has done that we know he's done, or what has he not done that we're grateful for, etc. Those, I always remember my mother saying, never mind what people say, watch what they do. So I learned very early to just watch.
Okay, so let me add another piece to this. In our last episode too, we talked about Mr. M, and everybody after show was like, who are you talking about? Who's that Mr. M? So I got a ton of emails. So we're going to dive into this a little bit here tonight. So we were talking about, I won't say it out loud, but it's on the screen now. And the reason we're bringing this up, again, damn Cliff High, him and his woo. In an interview with Greg Hunter, he said the prize for Mr. T, if he actually decided to run and put his family at risk and all of these things, was eventually to have Mr. M removed from the planet. And now we're understanding, and again, this is from my last tarot reading with Jenny here today, that perhaps Patton was also on this quest, and he had been on this quest at least in 4 of his previous lifetimes. So we were asking, what was it about the genetics of Patton, and perhaps now through the Mr. T bloodline, that would bring us into this fight that we're in today? And then, of course, this character comes back up. So it was like, oh, okay. So just to say that Penny and I was talking to Daphne this weekend, we're probably going to do a whole show on this individual here and how he relates to another Mr. M that's connected with Kim Gogan, and whether or not those are the two same individuals and what this all means in this spiritual war. But this is not for this show tonight. My point is, there's a connection there with the Patton bloodline, as Penny just mentioned, and perhaps this temporal war where these characters are recurring and coming back to fight this same fight. And apparently here in the cards right now, both these Mr. M individuals are destined to leave. So their time is up, whether they're actually gone or not. Now we're in that time period now where this fight, this time, makes a difference. So we're seeing all of these reincarnations of these individuals, including Joe, Penny, Jean-Claude, all these people who are working at this now because we were called to be here at this time. I'm going to ask Joe his thoughts on that, but first, Penny, you're nodding your head. What can you add to that conversation?
Well, there's probably a lot that I could add to that part of it, but I don't think we want to get into that in this conversation. Mr. M, we'll just say, how do I say this without opening up a can of worms? So the other Mr. M may have been either a personification of this Mr. M, or worshipped the M.O. guy as opposed to the M.A. guy. Okay, are you following me? So, yeah, this guy might have been worshipped by the other Mr. M, and that, that's a connection there that you don't want to get involved in. I have a friend of mine who is professor in at a college, and she decided that she was curious about evil, and she decided she was going to see if she could contact the devil, or one of the ancient gods of evil. And she ended up doing, now this is a woman who is very experienced in terms of psychic ability, intuitive ability, shifting consciousness. She connected with something, and she was not able to get it to leave her alone. It has been a nightmare for years now. And that just infiltrates all of her thoughts and all of her ideas. So it's not a connection you want to get too close to.
So to that point, we have the spinning Merkaba here, and we encourage anybody listening to this conversation to practice self-protections in terms of your energy field. And opinion, I did mention this in the last show too, that sometimes when you look in the abyss, it looks back at you. But the point of all this now is that we're moving into this age where we have to know as humans, as we're growing up now, who were and are these players and how they manipulated our timelines or evolution so that we can take control of our own evolutions and where we need to go as a planet, as a collective, as a society, as a consciousness, basically. So these are big conversations, but not for the show tonight, but they tie in apparently now loosely. We're starting to get these pieces of the puzzle to understand that this is much, much, much bigger then, there was an election in the United States. No, this is worldwide, and it's thousands of years into the making. Joe, before I switch you over to the next topic here tonight, which is the McAfee stuff, any last thoughts here on the connection between Patton, Trump, and I also want to just cue you in on this very quickly. You know that Jenny Constantine, who's been on the show, another tarot reader, she has mentioned this before with you live on the show too, that her main spirit guide was Patton. And when I shared her this information today, she lit up like a Christmas tree also, getting new insights and new downloads. And she and I are going to be doing a show here on September 1st on this very topic. And we're also going to do a three-way reading on this with Janine. And that's going to be on Monday, September 6 at 8 p.m. I haven't created the posters, but for the audience now, know that this is coming. There's a lot of connections here moving forward. So, Joe, your thoughts on this whole idea of the connection with Patton, and what does that mean to you? Where does that ring a bell for you? You seem to be, there's something there.
Yeah, I just heard it today, so it's making its rounds now, this new theory. But as you were talking, that's what I kept thinking, I didn't know if you were even going to go there because I wasn't sure where you were going if you had heard it yet. So I'm like, I need to tell him Patton. Patton could be a choice, but then you said it. So I'm like, okay. But I honestly have no idea. I don't know where the hell this really came from all of a sudden, but it came out. And again, if he is, so what? Great. You're kin of a cool guy. But it would still be pretty shocking, I think, to everybody, whoa, like that. But okay. What else now? So maybe that's all. If it is, that's all it would be. I don't think it'd have any other shock factor, really.
I haven't told you the whole story yet, but in our last reading, so in episode 4, where Janine and I did a decode on the Trump line and family secrets, we looked at Barron and all these other characters. We did pull in that apparently his parents weren't his actual biological parents, and we didn't understand why. And we did also pull in that there was off-world interference. And again, in the reading today, and also this negative 48 character here, who's just now made the scene. And again, it made sense to Janine here too, that this character would just hit now because we're almost at the end of the play and we need somebody to maybe drop all of those big truth bombs here. So we might be in that period of time now where the 17 minus 1 and all that stuff was one thing. They led us to this new stage, and this new stage now we're having these unearthings, as Cliff was talking about. This might be one of them, but it brings up the conversation of ET, aliens, and this is why we're talking about Mr. M and the other Mr. M here today. We need to start thinking like this as humans to realize that this is, again, much bigger than perhaps we thought. So that's story to be continued, folks. We're going to keep our eyes on this and come back to this because, man, that's a hornet's nest if I ever seen one. But it's going to be exciting, and I'm super excited to have Jenny back on the screen. She's coming up here again next week, and we're going to have just a fabulous time with her as well there. Okay, Joe, let's move into the next segment here for tonight, and that was the McAfee Telegram. Do you want to share? Can you just share a screen for your end so you control the information and start setting that up for the audience here as to why you want to share this and why?
I'm not going to share any screens.
Okay.
You're not going to. You're not going to want to see any of these screenshots.
Okay.
Not one of them.
Okay.
It's Telegram. It says McAfee. Official McAfee is his Telegram.
Okay.
Official McAfee. It's been around for a while. There's over 200-something thousand people in it. I was in it a while back, and I don't think there's too awfully much happening. I'm like, so I think I left it. And then someone today was like, "Oh, Joe, check this, the McAfee Telegram thing out." So they sent me the link. I joined again, just started scrolling up a little bit, and I go, "Whoa, okay." There's some pictures I've never seen before. There's some video I've never seen before. Some disturbing things. Okay, and he's all over Hillary Clinton right now. So I just want to remind everybody. Not too long ago, I had a dream. Ilhan Omar was being arrested. I was helping the sting operation in the dream to keep her in this room. She thought she could get out of it. This lady, like military lady, came in and she talked to her, and she's like, "You can get me out of this, like you." She's like, "Not anymore. It's over. There's nothing I can do for you." And the lady walks out, and Ilhan's like, "Oh my god, this can't be happening." But she gets arrested. All of a sudden, I get this instant knowing, without ever seeing or hearing Hillary Clinton, she's in the next room. And then I wake up, and I'm thinking about what I just saw. And what I feel like I know out of that, I know she was in there. Why do I know she was in there? I didn't see her. I know she was in there. And I thought there's one of two things I got out of this. She's either ratted out Ilhan to some extent to give her herself a lesser sentence, or she's next. And I go, oh. So whoever's running that Telegram right now is posting some pretty disturbing things. There was something Hillary Clinton supposedly did to a young girl. And they're showing who that is, I think. Who it is. And some kind of before and after photo. So, and amongst other things. And they're unloading, here's a crack code, the unlock code for to unencrypt it, this and that. Like, he's saying, there's 31 terabytes I got, get ready. And he's posting like passwords and things. So I'm like, okay, I think I'll save those, because if it ends up going, okay, here's where you get it, and everyone goes there and downloads this big file, okay, unencrypt it now to open it. It's probably a big zip file or whatever it is, however you encrypted it. You use the keys and unencrypt it. Next thing you know, you have every single folder, and they're showing the folder. Like I'll read you a couple of the names.
Maybe you don't need to say any more names.
No, these are okay.
Okay.
Kono, Kono. Does that mean anything to you? I don't know what that one is. And it's a swarm, 31 terabytes. File name, Kono, Kono. Then Little St. James, that's the island. Motherlode's the next one. Nakamoto is the next one. And then SETI, Serendip. But those are just some of the shared folders he's showing that, and Vault access is locked. So here's how you unlock it. But and again, there's pictures of Epstein with really small kids. I do want to mention this. So there was a photo that was floating around. I think it might have been on those certain message boards that are no longer allowed to be talked about. And it showed a young Asian girl wrapped in a box and like tape. She didn't look bad as far as like hurt, but you could see her face. She had that gag in the mouth. I'm looking at it right now. And I'm like, I remember that photo. That was on one of those boards. And when it made its passes, I've never seen this part of it, though. And that is President Obama with that young girl sitting in his lap at the White House.
Oh, I did.
So that was new for me. But I didn't put those connections together. And now they're showing it. And they're showing a lot of these people, Adam Schiff, Nancy, whatever. There's some interesting stuff being posted all of a sudden on this Telegram group is all I'm going to say. And we've got to be getting close to something. I mean, this storm, in my opinion, that just happened, this hurricane, Category 4, Louisiana again. It's like, oh my God, it's Katrina all over again. And my wife had, the other thing she had in her dream 2 days ago, whatever. Oh, alligators and flooding. There's like alligators in people's yards and like streets I saw. I go, I got the same dream like a month ago. My youngest daughter got a dream that there was an alligator in our little pond over here, which would be out of place, for an alligator here. And anyways, remote viewers see alligators in the streets, like coming up for the month of August for their little, look-see of the month. So like here we are, end of the month, and I guarantee we're going to hear about alligators in Louisiana, amongst other issues. But my opinion on this, we'll just end it after this, is we saw Joe Biden rapidly going downhill with all of his decisions. Afghanistan was the latest. It was incredible. Oh, we might have to 25th Amendment. Oh, no, we can't. CNN's all over him. Oh, my God, this is the worst we've ever seen. You know, it's all, they would never do this against one of their own. So they know we're going to get him out of here. So we have to go with this story. Yeah, we're going to make him look bad. And then all of a sudden, there's Hurricane Ivan or whatever the hell it is. I forget what it is. Up here right now causing havoc. I'm just going to throw a dart and say, I think this will be another blunder for Biden. He's not going to respond appropriately to help the people. And that's going to be it. Like, okay, people have had enough. Get this piece of garbage out of here. You know, we got to get rid of them. And then you hear some breaking news that I still can't tell you yet. Oh my God, Hunter Biden in the news. Big headline. And then Joe Biden just is out of office shortly after.
Let me unmute myself. Let me mute you, Joe. Okay, that's very interesting, Joe, too. And I want to maybe point this video to the audience. This was Dick Algario yesterday. He talked about the crypto market here and how everything's changing. And we'll get back to that later in the crypto segment. But he also said in this show that right now what we're seeing is a designed implosion in order to break everyone's confidence in what is remaining, our governance systems, our religions, or all of these, our leaders and all of that. And Afghanistan is just one of those examples, but this is all made to happen right now so that we can destroy the old and create the new. Now, of course, in his worldview, the new is being set up here by the same old guard, and we're going to be in more how do I say it? Slavery in the new system than in the old system, but that's his point of view. But the point was, we're breaking the old to put in the new place. Out of the chaos comes the order. Out of the ashes, the phoenix rises. So go check out this video because it's important. It's a temporal piece here that's showing us why some of these events are happening. So let me bring Penny on here. Penny, first, your thoughts on what's coming out of the McAfee files, finally, and two, this idea that we're being controlled here in such a way to lose all of our confidence or the remaining confidence we have in everything, our money, our governance system, and all of that. Let's speak to that to the audience.
Okay, so let's see. What was the first question? Because I'm already totally focused on the second one. I got 29 answers there.
Let's start with the McAfee stuff, what Joe just talked about. If you want to add anything to that, and then we'll get into the loss of confidence here and perhaps the trajectory to removing Biden from the picture here.
Okay, I have seen some of those photos. I would say to people, don't go there and look at those. You will never forget those. You will have difficulty forgiving. If a time for forgiveness comes, you won't be able to sleep. You'll be sick. Just don't go look at those. Just listen to Joe talk about them, and that's enough. They're awful. They are terrible, awful pictures that just break your heart. So let me just drop that subject because I can't forget those myself. In terms of one of the comments, I just came back from a speaking thing on the East Coast. One of the comments that so struck me this weekend was somebody saying, we cannot build the new earth, the new human, the new system on the back of the old, of Trump and the old ways. And my thought at the time was, boy, that's for sure. And actually, the whole talk was about different aspects of the paradigm that are breaking apart. And I ended up, doing a whole presentation on 12 different aspects of our current paradigm, and looking at what do we have to face in order to get to that new earth, that new world, etc. And by the time I got done putting the whole presentation together before I left, I was so excited. It was like, I really don't want the old system, because this is our opportunity to create something new, to get rid of the corruption, to build a world that works for everyone, to really rethink the whole thing, and do something beautiful and wonderful. And I think we've got maybe 6 to 8 weeks that we can say, we're waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for something to happen. But when I get to mid-October to the mid-November, it's like, whoa, something has gone down. Something big has shifted, and very quietly done so. It's not, I mean, everybody knows it, but it's something that I keep looking at thinking, what is that? What is that? And I think it's almost anticlimactic because everybody sees it coming. Everybody knows it's coming. The financial system and the government go down together. There's another kind of government that I think is being set up and has been in the works for at least since 2012. I think the little man in brown robes were probably right on. We are going to see the United States break up, and the various regions. I'm not sure. Originally the breakup I saw was 1, 2, 3, 4 regions, and then those 4 each broke up into 1 or 2 more. So we end up with about 8 regions. And at the time I first saw that, I was really sad. It was like, oh, they're going to balkanize the U.S. Once I understood the level of corruption, and one of the things I say in the Trump considerations piece is I think Trump is taking down the system right to the roots. So there's no government, there's no Washington, D.C., there's no Democrats, there's no Republicans, there's no all the institutions, there's no executive services, there's no intelligence that we would expect to be there. Everything is new and different, and it's in different locations. And I started I had picked up on some of those locations probably, I'm going to say almost a year ago, maybe at least 8 or 9 months ago, and thought, oh, what is that doing there? That looks like Trump is setting up the government there. And then he was elsewhere, and I thought, oh, I think he's setting up the government there. And then it was another place, and I thought, oh, so at first I was thinking, okay, I'm not seeing things correctly. Now I'm looking at that and thinking, I think there's going to be more than one government, more than one, I'm not sure what to call it.
More decentralized.
It's decentralized, exactly. That's very good. Thank you.
Cliff High in one of his videos talked about the plan for devolution. So basically a de-evolving of all of these structures, and that needed to happen in order for the new to come in also. So this is also what you're talking about. So this is a perfect segue into our next clip here. So just 2 weeks ago, or a week ago here, we celebrated, well, I'm not sure we were celebrating, but the 50th anniversary of Nixon temporarily suspending the gold standard here, and thus creating the petrodollar. And during that same week, we had the fall of Kabul. And now, in the last couple of days, Saudi Arabia just signed a military cooperation agreement with Russia. And this, of course, there's no details in this agreement yet. We don't know what they are, but presumably it goes against the agreement that Kissinger and Nixon did with Saudi Arabia to hold up the petrodollar, which is the last standard that we have. So it's very possible here, and of course the mainstream media are not connecting all the dots for us, but it could be very possible that this was one of those big pieces of devolution here in our financial system so that we can bring in a new system. This old one that we had based on the petrodollar and the cooperation with the Saudis to prop that up is now apparently null and void. So let's bring up this last tweet from Cliff High, and it connects to what you were just saying now, about October, November timeframe. Cliff here was retweeting something from the Silver Guru, David Morgan, who was tweeting something about Gunlock, saying, hey, we're now on this roadmap to losing the world reserve currency. And Cliff said, yeah, we're absolutely right to that. But he says the big damage and the meltdown should happen in October, November. So you just said here, Penny, not only would we see bye-bye Biden, as I showed the screen here with all of this shit show that we're seeing in the total loss of confidence we have in that pretendency, but now also maybe the loss of confidence in our dollar, just realizing that the last leg holding up the petrodollar has now been removed. So Penny, in your last couple of look-sees, and I'll get JSNIP to add to this here with his last conversation with Woo Woo Dude, what do you see here in terms of how those two things are intrinsically connected? The loss of this government, perhaps the reshaping of this new governance structures in the United States, and our financial system. Share your understanding at this point, and also maybe what it was from the robes 20 or 30 years ago when you wrote the book, and how all that ties in for the audience today.
Okay, so what I've seen consistently for months now is that we get to October, maybe the middle of October, first 2 weeks of October, and it's like, boom, the government and the financial system blow up, or they disappear, or they go down, or something big happens. And I've thought, well, what is it? Is it the financial system or the government? And so for a long time, I was trying to decide which one. I think it's both. So what I know, what I'm pretty sure I know, is that all of the banking system is between a rock and a hard place right now. The banks don't have any money. They've been trying to pretend that we have a lot of money by printing a lot of money. They've been doing that for a year. And the goal has been to sort of make sure everybody's got enough dollars so that people don't revolt. However, when I get to October of this year, it looks like dollars or no, whether people have dollars or not, everybody knows it's over. Everybody knows it's over. So then it's like I was describing before, it's like we're on a road going through the mountains, and we get to the edge of the mountains, and the financial system goes down, and we go through this valley, and then we go up again, the next mountain. And so there's this, it isn't a terrible, it's not a terrible depression. It's not a total collapse. It's a period of confusion and reorganization that I thought happened pretty quickly, like between October and April. That I think that's pretty quickly compared to what we had in the 1930s, which took 10 years for the Depression to get over in the 1930s. In 6 months, we're rolling. And actually I had seen by February, people were like breathing a sigh of relief. They were beginning to, okay, all right, this is what we have to work with. Let's work with it. That there was a really good attitude in a lot of places. Not every family was working together, but quite a few families had said, God, we need one another. We need, I know you, I know where your buttons are, and I know that you're honest, or you're this or you're that. So there were more families working together. But the government, I had this picture, and this was one of the things that came up in one of my classes, doing a kind of a deep look at what's happening with Trump. And I forget the time frame of that. Maybe it was next February. And then again, 17 months from now. But the word that had come up over and over for me was that by February, it was all about logistics. And Trump and the military were busy with logistics. And I remember looking at that and thinking, what's the problem? Isn't logistics something that trucking companies have to deal with? or I don't know, maybe airplanes. But it looked like there was a huge effort to implement another delivery system with different money that would get people what they needed, because there were a lot of shortages, a lot. And people were sharing, and they were hanging in there and doing what they could. But there were shortages. People were going back to the store again and again. Do we have it? Is it there now? Is it, and then people had to be limited as to how much they could buy, because they wanted to, buy it all. But that's basically it.
Okay, it's interesting. First, thank you for that. That's a good synopsis there. And what's interesting is you just mentioned April, and in Cliff's tweet also, in his data, he was looking at maybe the petrodollar being dead finally by March of 22. So that would bring us into April having a new system having completely reemerged itself, or that train having now surpassed the old train of the old petrodollar, whatever this new train and this new system will be at that point. This is, again, is a topic for our discussion. And folks, if you want to have a little bit of an upbeat on that information, I've just recorded today the next Beyond Crypto Woo, a hitchhiker's guide to this financial transition with Janine here. It's available now. Actually, it's uploading now. It'll be available by 11 tonight, but you guys can order it right now and see the video here later tonight. But we got into this, a deep subject here of the death of the petrodollar, the 50th anniversary, and what that means moving forward here in the next couple of weeks, because this is key. September here is setting up that month of October and November for us, and we're getting hit from every angle here. So to remove the stress, you need to empower yourself, and to empower yourself, you need the knowledge. So again, you need to listen to everyone, follow no one, do your own research, and this is not financial advice. Joe, this is not financial advice. Let me say that one more time. Joe, let me bring you on the screen here. As you're looking into these last conversations and what Penny just kind of detailed us here moving forward in the timeline, what's your point of view as you're studying this? You're doing your own shamanic dreamings, and you have your own dreams here that have been very prescient as of late. This lady just said, "Hey, Joe, it's right on time. We just saw the crocodiles today in the street." So
yeah, I saw that.
That was amazing. But let's talk about also some of Woo Woo Dude's predictions and how it all ties in to this time frame we're in now. What can you share with this audience?
Yeah, I remember Woo Woo Dude was also saying that the Mr. M, Trump wants that.
Yeah,
he wants to have that trophy. I got rid of him,
Oh.
And I never asked him. Well, will you just read? Because he does watch sometimes what Cliff I says every now and then, and I didn't know. Well, did he say that first? Who said it first? If Cliff said it first, did Woo Dude get that from him? And that's just why he mentioned it. He didn't say, so I'm not sure why he brought that up, but he did. He mentioned it too. So I always go back. I can't, this is ingrained, it's burned into my head. I can never get rid of it. And that is Dick Algar's remote viewing session that was effing insane late last year, where he saw empty Congress building, them laying in the hallways, hunched over on the railways, crying their eyes out, loss of power, adjourning for the last time.
The puking congressman picture. Do you still have that on your phone?
I wish I'd tried to find it. It's on my phone somewhere, but I can't get it fast enough. I thought,
I wonder if I times on my previous channel.
I was looking at my desktop. I go, did I save that? I don't see it. Let me look at one more spot, though. Actually, come to think of it.
Keep talking. I'll try to find it for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, but oh wait, is this it? Oh, that's the another one I saved. Actually, I was like, oh, that's it. No, it's not. Yeah. So there's that, and I know even Edgar Casey, Sleeping Prophet, had talked about, I think he mentioned the United States would split up at some point. I'm pretty sure it was him who mentioned that.
I thought he said that would happen because of Earth changes. So,
I don't remember the reason. Yeah, I don't remember the reason.
Well, that would certainly, either way, it would be rough.
Yeah. So let's talk how this would maybe affect crypto for a second too, because... So let's say we have, and everyone's psychic I know is like, oh yeah, towards the end of the year it's going to go crazy, but yeah, there should be a crash after. So let's just say Bitcoin hits 150K. Oh my God, whatever the other coins are, they're going crazy. It's November, whatever. Maybe because the government with $1 trillion spending, the debt ceiling, they didn't renew the debt ceiling. Oh my God, the treasuries did all the tricks that it could do for the last 2 months. They can't fix it anymore now. Oh my God, again, another blame it on Biden moment or what? Is that going to happen sooner than later? I don't know. But it rockets up. Everyone's just panicked out of the dollar, right? So that's it. They're panicked out of the dollar, and they go to crypto. So those of us sitting in crypto are going, oh, wow, my portfolio is looking fantastic. So we need to cash out immediately to start doing these things maybe we had planned. At least some of it, pay your house off, pay that off, like get stuff done. But then I think I could see why a crash could happen. Like a big crash. Cliff saying 90%. Well, I could see how that could happen.
How?
If we're going away from the dollar after all the turmoil, people are panicked. Oh my God, I got to get into crypto to get away from the dollar. There's some problem with the dollar. Go to crypto. Where all of our portfolios go huge. Then all of a sudden everyone learns, well, wait a minute, the dollar's going away too. There's a new currency coming. Well, wait a minute, all the stable coins across the world are dollar-based stable coins. Oh my God, I can't sell into crypto for other crypto. That can't keep me safe. So what do? Everyone starts panic selling to get out of crypto, take the dollars or whatever, I guess, and run as fast as you can. The market freaking pukes everywhere. And then next year, whatever switch happens, and then maybe new stable coins come out that are back. But you're not going to be able to take maybe an old stable coin and put it into a new stable coin for 1-to-1. That's not usually what happens when the currency dies. So again, what happens to all of our bank accounts too? We have all these old dollars in there, which I don't know, but I can kind of see that as a scenario of why such a huge drop could happen. I'm not saying it will, and I have not had any dreams about that, but I just, as we were talking, I'm going, oh, if it's going way up and then way down that bad, well, maybe this is why, because people are panicking. They're panicking in only to find out, oh my God, the dollar's going away. Now I got to panic out into something else. And maybe they panic out into gold and silver. And then, because it doesn't matter what currency swaps for that, because once it comes back online, whatever the currency is, you got gold. It'll revalue to the right level. Silver would too. So maybe that's what sets off gold and silver. Crypto market tanks and everyone's going to gold and silver all of a sudden to get out of dollars and crypto. I don't know.
I had a similar scene. You're pretty close to what I saw.
Okay.
So yeah, cryptos go up, they go up, they go up. They become ridiculously inflated, I guess maybe would be a term. And that's because there's no banks and the banking system the Federal Reserve is gone. And so that then stays, we don't have anything for a while, but then it looks like there's an announcement. I don't know, maybe I don't know if people they're just not listening until January or February. They just can't announce anything till January or February. But it looked like a gold-backed new dollar was implemented, and people said, "Oh, okay," and they started putting their crypto money, taking money out of cryptos and putting it in the gold-backed.
We need to interject here too, because for a lot of people maybe watching this show, they're going to be, come on, JSNIP's been saying that for 10 years, and Craig Hemke has been saying that for 20 years. It never happens. It's never going to happen. Everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, 50 years ago, it wasn't fine. It was fine until that Sunday night where Nixon said, okay, hold on. You guys called their bluff, and we have to disconnect from the gold standard. These big cataclysmic events happen at first very, very slowly, and then suddenly, just like a bankruptcy. So we might be close to this next Nixon moment, as Penny was just saying here, where we wake up on Sunday night and we have a speech like that. I want to just one comment, and I'll give you guys both the floor here back. But
let me add one thing to that real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
It might not be a bad idea, people, that when this next big run-up happens in crypto, and you're like, well, gosh, I just took care of everything I needed. I got a bunch of crypto left over. What do? I don't want to put any stable coins if this thing's... Maybe it's time to go... Look, I've got all the silver I ever wanted or needed, but I had almost no gold. I only have a few coins right now, like maybe 3 coins, 1-ounce coins that I bought for my friend with some crypto, actually, he wanted to get rid of. So I did the trade. Maybe we ought to put a little stash of that crypto profit, if you got everything else taken care of, into freaking gold. Or if you don't have your silver yet, maybe put the silver. But you can get a lot of silver for, a lot less than what gold is. So you might want to have both, because a small handful of gold could be worth a fortune, and a freaking more than you care to carry, where the silver is worth the same. It's like how are you going to lug that crap around? You know, it's very heavy and there's a lot.
I agree with you, Joe. And it's funny you bring that up because in my last interview with Andy Scheckman last week on this weekly precious metals episode, he said, dude, all the big institutional houses, the sovereign wealth funds, they're taking physical delivery at a rapid clip like never seen before in his whole career. So he said the big money is front running this right now. They know something's about to happen and they're getting physical in a real way. So guys, if you're new to this, you're looking at getting some physical silver, check out this offer. This is from Miles Franklin, our affiliate program, and this is the discount for the Beyond Mystic audience. These are the 1 ounce silver kangaroos at $380 over spot. You can find that directly here at beyondmystic.net/silver. But of course, you can get gold there too. Just fill out the form, get in contact with Andy and his dealers, and he takes care of the Beyond Mystic audience. Okay, the point I wanted to make here too, there was a comment in the chat saying, JC, stop setting it up and just ask the questions. Dude, I appreciate that and I love you, man. But first of all, do your own YouTube channel and you can do whatever you want there. One. But two, more importantly, I'm going to ask you and people who might think the same way here to maybe have compassion for the people who just woke up last week. This is why I'm setting stuff up. And this is why Penny and I are taking our time again here on a Sunday night to go through all of these things because people are just coming to the screen right now. They just dropped off of CNN last week. As you know, we didn't even get 1 million viewers. So I appreciate that, guy, and maybe watch me on replay later on 2.0. But we need to set this up here because these are so complicated topics. A lot of people are afraid, and we need to set up the conversation so that we don't create the fear. That's exactly the opposite of what Penny and Joe want to do right now. We want to empower people. So I'm not going to apologize for setting these questions up properly for the audience to understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
That being said, where was I?
I need a shirt that has like a big pointer. You are a jabroni. And then whenever that happens, I just stand up and show the shirt. There's always a jabroni here and there. There's always one in every crowd.
Okay. All right. Ronnie says exactly, JC, and JC, you're doing a good job. Okay, that's what I choose to focus on. All right. So Joe, back to this infamous now, as you said, crypto target or viewing target from the remote viewers at Crypto Viewing, Dick Algary and Company here. We've talked about this on the show. You and I, Dick has come on the show and talked about this. So maybe run this by the audience again, those who have not seen this, and how that is starting very, very much to resemble now the situation in Washington.
Are you able to make that like full screen, or is that it?
I think I can make it bigger. Yes.
I just want to see if I can.
Okay, I'll remove this banner. Hold on a second here. I'll give you a little bit more real estate as well. There you go.
Okay. So top left corner, you see the ID up there. That's his remote viewing target. They have no idea what they're being given. They get a number and alphanumeric number like that, and they say go remote view this. No idea. And typically this one I think might have been just next month's what's going to happen next month or in the near future, whatever it was, however you got it.
It was about the death of the dollar. Because you and I weren't sure last time, and I asked Dick. He says, no, this was a reading about the death of the dollar, and we couldn't understand why this was popping up.
Oh,
bingo.
Bingo. Okay, go back.
So left side. What does it say? Opulent, warmer voices, smell, carpet. I don't know what that word is. Gout.
Government building smells.
Government, GOVT. Okay, building smell. Government emergency meeting. Shock, dismay, disbelief, ruin, catastrophe. How can we face this? Look at them hunched over. Some of them, they're in the hallways. What are they doing? One's puking, one's crying. Then you go to the right side. This is a hallway in a big ornate building. Power place. Reminds me of U.S. Congress. Men in suits gather outside a big room. They have shocking news. Some are bent over, sobbing. Disbelief. Sense of adjourning for the last time. Transfer of power. Now, someone made this comment in this section a minute ago, and I remember this clearly. How many times did Trump come out? And it was in his famous speech, too, by the way, that, I think I have it posted in my Twitter, like, don't forget about this. And it was his big speech he gave. And I said, and I think the title was, "This will get Trump elected," is what the initial title was. Beautiful speech. And in there, he said it, too. I will be transferring power back to the people. That's what he kept saying. And he's going to do it.
Very good. And I just want to address some question here from the viewers. It's Carla. She says, who drew this? So let me give credit properly here to Dick Allgaier and company. So Carla and everybody else who are not sure what this is all about, this is Crypto Viewing's YouTube channel. There you will find the work of Dick Allgaier and all of their remote viewing. It's a team, and you can see a lot of the targets that they have, and then you can also follow them on their Patreon, where they go much more in details of things that we cannot speak of here on YouTube. But if you want to see hit after hit after hit, just go check out the last couple of videos and you'll be like, wow, these guys are solid. Okay.
Yeah.
Penny, last thing maybe on that remote viewing from Dick Allgaier. Is anything you want to add to that in the context of what's happening today, or do you want to move to the next segment?
I'll just make a quick comment. When I was looking at the government going down, in the combination of no government, no money, they were closing, it looked like, because they didn't have access to money, number one. And the second thing was that they just didn't have, like, nobody was supporting them, like they had no power. And so I was struck by one of the comments on that thing you just showed, that said that this was a place of power, and it was a transfer of power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that I've seen all the time and thought, what, and not being able to explain that. So the government shuts down because they're out of business.
Yeah, and the transfer of the location of power too, the devolution, the decentralization, all of that. It's happening. And also for the audience who are watching this, who cares about the United States? No, this is happening worldwide. And if you haven't seen the people running around in your streets right now, disagreeing with the power structure, you're going to see more of this as we're moving into September, October, and November here. It needs to happen. Again, if you look at that last video from Dick Allgaier, this is organized right now. Either these are the energies from space that are presenting us with the opportunities for us to live this transition, or if it's orchestrated by the bad guys or the good guys, or all of the above. The point is, this is happening, and the faster you can adjust to the flow of this transition, the better you're going to be. If you're holding so hard to the past and you're married to these beliefs, you're going to have trouble in this transition. Penny.
Let me just add that, I think you guys were too young to have been around when Nixon was making his announcement, but I wasn't. And I remember there was nothing, and then boom, all of a sudden one day some announcement gets made, and we're all hanging out in lines that are 5 blocks long, waiting to get gas, or waiting to get, stuff at the grocery store. Interest rates went through the roof. You couldn't get a mortgage. You couldn't get a car loan. It was crazy. So,
and just to put the parallels in there too, I could probably find a video very quick, but it was it Mitterrand or de Gaulle? Anyways, the French president who for years was calling the bluff of the Americans and saying, hey, they're printing more money than they have gold. These guys are lying to us. And of course, what were they called? Oh, they're just conspiracy theories. That's not true. Come on. And then, of course, on the Sunday night, Nixon comes out. Yeah, actually, we got an issue, right? So here we are, Penny, Joe, and I being these conspiracy nutcases here for a number of years, but apparently we're just a little bit early, but we're getting close, guys, to that day. And I think that's the good warning from Penny here. It happens really quickly. And then what it does, if you're not positioned, that's when you're in panic. Oh, shoot, I didn't get my silver. Oh, shoot, I didn't get my extra food or my gas cans for my generator, because there's going to be some issues. Not the end of the world, but some issues as we transition through all of this.
And how glad are some people out there who way early on decided, like I did and JC did, and probably Penny, oh my God, it's gonna be here soon. I gotta start buying my gold and silver, and then it didn't happen yet, but I got more money still. Let me go buy some more. It still hasn't happened. I think I want to go buy some more. And then you have a stack that's bigger than you thought you'd ever have, because you just said, I gotta get this much, at least this much, and then I got more time. So now you have this big stack, and you're like, I don't even need any more now. And then it hits you, and you have other things to deal with that you can focus on.
Yes.
So being scared and early, I guess, kicks you into gear to go, I got to get this done. And then you're like, wow, it's been freaking, 15 years now. But it's here. It's knocking on our door right now.
And universe rewards action. If you're going to put your head in the sand and pretend everything's okay, that's inaction. Typically, those people don't fare too well when the tsunami hits the beach. So again, not trying to be fearful, but it's just an analogy to say, hey guys, action, empowerment, these are the things that we appreciate here. And to go to your point, Joe, what you were talking about here, on top of what you just said, Cliff was just saying too, because of the criminality and because of all of this manipulation, they are now subsidizing you to get even more of your stack because they're trying to cover their shorts right now. They're terrified about what's going to happen. And we're going to the long side. JP Morgan is fully long right now on all this. Go watch the last episode with Andy Sheckman and the one coming up this Friday with Rob Kirby. That's going to be a hell of a blockbuster episode as well. So we know where this is going. So again, guys, take actions for yourself. This is not financial advice. Educate yourself, be calm, and take actions that you believe are for your highest good, but don't stay in the fear frequency that freezes you into inaction. We're too late for that now. I guess that's my last word of encouragement on that one. Okay, Penny, you brought this up, and also Joe brought this up. This is the passing of Robert David Steele. Now, whether you in the audience know who he is or not, whether you agree with him or not, whether you think he's a good guy, a bad guy, or somewhere in between, many people have said, oh, once a spook, always a spoke. This person has just passed away now in a very critical moment in our transition. And for all of his work, we have to at least appreciate the things that he's done so far to awaken a lot of the population. I want to put that on the record at the very least here moving forward. And I'm going to ask Penny to start here. How do you want to share this news with the audience? And what do you think is important for them to understand how maybe more pivotal this might actually be than what is being presented here? And of course, I highlighted that the cause of death yet has not yet been public as per this article, and this was 4 hours ago. Penny.
Yeah. So yeah, I was informed today that he had passed, and from some of my people that I know over on the East Coast. I do know how he left. I think it was legitimate. I don't think he was taken out. I knew some things about I knew what was going on in his personal, private life. The amount of stress was off the charts. He was a brilliant man. He was really, he was sassy. He was really sassy. And one of the conversations I had with him in June, and then even actually before that, he said, I need to start exercising.
Hang on. Can you just mute real quick, JC?
Oh, too much echo? Too much echo. So, okay, let me back up just a little bit. Couple of the conversations I had with him, he had said, I'm going to call you. I want to be able to talk to you about getting healthy again. And that never happened. He ran out of time and the stress was off the charts. He had let people know that he was in debt over the tour. He had to abandon the tour by the time he got to Indiana because he was out of money, and he was $100,000 in debt to some people. I'm not sure who. And that was something that really weighed on him really deeply. And I think it was too much. So I'm sorry to see him go. I'm really glad that I asked him for copies of all of his books before he left. And I have copies, and some of them are brilliant. So he's left a legacy, a good one.
Thank you for sharing that. And somebody says, JC, better get a better microphone. I don't know. It's also the connection. I'm in the country, guys. It's not it's a very expensive microphone and software.
That's a good mic.
Joe, back to you.
So
on RDS himself here.
Yeah. So on Robert, you'll recall he's been at some of these meetings, where there's people all up there with him, and they're all, giving their talks. And I don't know where this particular one was. It almost looked like he was talking to, I thought he was talking to some politicians or something, this one. But he's like, talking about the child trafficking stuff. and he says, you CIA, whatever, you people know who you are. You still have time, and because if you don't take the deal, you're getting killed. You're going to be killed. So take the deal, you mother effers, and whatever, because you're going out either way. He's basically threatening them, and that's not how. If you're still CIA, or again, that's the topic you're not allowed to ever talk about. So I feel very confident that guy probably was certainly in the government, CIA, whatever. I mean, is every single CIA agent a piece of crap? No way. And who was it? Penny. Oh my God! I saw FBI arresting FBI. What for? What? Why would that happen? Unless the government's being taken down. And I thought at first seeing this, I go, is he just taking is he getting out of the way because shit's about to really get crazy? He's gonna be a target, or did he really go? And I don't have that ability to tap in or tune in to see if someone's soul is still here or not. But bottom line is, it doesn't really matter with this individual. He's done a great job at exposing things, and people mentioning his books are really good about what he's enlightened people on in his books. So sad if he's dead. Sad that he went, but probably a decent time to go for what the rest of us are about to maybe have to deal with in the next few months. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Penny, you're shaking your head. Do you want to add to that? Let me unmute your mic there. Go ahead.
Yeah, just that I had decided earlier today when I was driving home that when I got a minute, I was going to see if I could contact him. I think he is gone. I think he did die. So it's not that he just disappeared. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can contact him, what he might have to say. So.
Okay, and perhaps we'll keep that for our next show. Okay, very good. And so, and yes, again here, please join us in at least acknowledging, again, whether you like this individual or not, he did tremendous work in raising the bar of consciousness on the planet by his work, his actions, his speeches, and taking some people... or taking the bull by the horns in some cases. In some very difficult interview, he was not afraid to say what he believed in, and he was a very passionate guy, and you have to give him credit for that. Absolutely. Okay. JC and Penny, a psychic? JC, is Penny a psychic? Okay. Let's move into the Q&A section. There you go, Darla. Okay. First of all, before we do Q&As, Penny, Joe, in the list of things that you guys thought was absolutely critical that we speak of tonight, have we gone through all of those points? Is there anything remaining or anything new that just popped up on your screen?
Not for me.
Want to talk about? Okay, no. And
nope.
Penny?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm
okay,
good.
So Penny, are you a psychic?
You know what? I hate that word. So if somebody asks me if I am a psychic, I always say no. Am I clairvoyant? Yes. Am I clairaudient? Yes. Am I clairsentient? Yes. Clairgustant? Yes. Clairnascent? Yes. Do I do telepathy? Sometimes.
Is your Kundalini activated?
Pardon?
Is your Kundalini activated?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Those were all things that happened overnight because of Kundalini. So.
That is the question. That's why I redirected you for the audience members. And of course, Penny and I did a show on Kundalini Awakening, and it was deleted by YouTube. But Penny still has a copy of that somewhere, and I believe Daphne sent me one. So I'm going to try to put it back on our pay-per-view show there so you guys can see that. So give me a week or two, and I'll try to bring that one back up because it was a fascinating episode. And then in that episode, Penny said to you, one of the last gates for humanity's freedom was not only understanding what Kundalini is and what it does, but how to empower ourselves. So think about that. This is critical also as we're moving into this new age of Aquarius. Okay, let me scan question here for Penny and Joe. Let me see this one. Question for Penny. Is Penny seeing a... okay, I can't read that out loud.
Okay.
So Penny, carefully here. Cliff has talked about some numbers in response to this. Are you seeing the high-end number, the low-end number, or no number? Let's be very careful on the language.
I have not seen the high numbers. What I have seen, in fact, I haven't really seen any numbers because I haven't focused on that. But what I have seen is, man, there's a lot of sick people, and there's a lot of people who are nursing the sick people back to health. And so I think, I was thinking about this on the way home today. A lot of people are going to get a reminder of what real nursing care is. It isn't being in a hospital. It's really about, did you take your meds? What's the next thing? Keeping track. You have to write down what you took and what time you took it. When you're doing stuff to get healthy and you've got a lot of stuff to take and a lot is on the line because you're sick as a dog. When people were sick as a dog, we did lose some. We lost quite a few. But a lot of people got some really good care, nursing care from their family, from their people. And so the thing that struck me when I was watching this was remembering the little men in brown robes saying to me, there's going to come a time when your old people will be so sick and your young people will be so sick and the people in the middle will be so sick, and anybody who's well enough to keep things running is going to be taking care of all of that, and they're going to be so stressed and so stretched that when it comes time for taxes and filing IRS stuff, the attitude is basically going to be, don't bother me with paperwork right now. Screw that. We have life and death issues that we're dealing with here. And that's, I think we're heading into that over this next year.
Okay. And let me just add to that here with watching the language too. It's very possible that necessity is the mother of inventions. And when I say that, it's possible that there are people working on things right now that could counter some of the things that have already been put into motion. We won't get into that here, but it kind of answers the question too. This is in limbo, but of course, personal choice, your soul contract, you are responsible for yourself, and other people are responsible for their own decisions. You can help them, share them the information, but you are not married to their conclusions of their actions. So again, try not to be responsible for everyone else here. Save maybe your family, your kids. I understand what you mean, but anyways, let's move on. Jason has the next question here. A question for Penny. What is the most important thing for people to do right now?
Well, that's kind of hard to determine, because is it about money that we want to talk, or is it we want to talk about health, or do we want to talk about governance or whatever? In terms of, let me just make a quick statement about each one of those. When it comes to health, you should be putting together your doctor kit right now so that you have everything that you need, enough for everybody in your family, including yourself. And that's to make sure that you make it through. In terms of governance, I think it's really important to be aware that there are quite a few groups that are forming that intend, let me say it this way, that are going to step up and take charge of their region. And if you want to get involved in those or know what's happening, you're going to have to do a little research and find out who are those people. They're working with both governance and with economy. In terms of money, don't panic. Don't panic. I was having a conversation with my daughter today. She'd been doing quite a bit of research. We're both on the same page. And she said that she was listening to somebody talk about how the bail-in is going to go. So you may have money in the bank, but you might not be able to touch it. Leave it alone. Because what I've seen, and it's not 100% across the board, when they institute the new money system, your money becomes good again. Except it's gold backed now. So, if you can't touch it for 6 months, don't panic. If you need it to live on, come up with a strategy, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for that. Somebody on the scene says, JC, you should be the next Detective Hercule Poirot. Yeah, but I don't like those curly mustaches. It's not my style. Oh, I love that. Okay.
I love it.
Sure, thank you for that, Penny. I'll come back to you in a moment here to talk about the book. Somebody was asking about the brown robes and they're confused about all that. So I'll ask you to come back with your website and the books and your offerings. But first, before we do that, Joe, for the audience members here who are listening to this conversation and they're willing to take action, but they just don't know where to start as it is to crypto, what do you have for them available here at patreon.com/JSNIP4? How can you help these people out?
Yeah, so just that middle subscription is the main one that you would need. It's $20 in US dollars. Subject to change in the near future, possibly. No, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I don't care. But that's where I post all my stuff, whether it's some interesting dream about crypto or something else I had, or whatever I'm doing, my kind of spiritual journey, or specifically crypto, or people are you still on the sidelines? Yeah, every time I go, well, maybe I should just put this money on the sideline back in right now. Something's like, no, not yet. Not yet. Just wait. I'm like, God, I just can't even do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and wait. I just wait for that. I think we're going to have one more quick whoop, and then off we go. Hopefully my orders will fill. And I may up them a little higher than they are, rather than, getting like the bottom. Oh, they catch the very bottom. I don't need the very bottom. If I can get even kind of close. But I feel like I'll see it happening anyways. I go, okay, that's getting close. Let me just log in and change my orders now, and just maybe do that. Otherwise, they'll just sit there and hopefully fill. But yeah, I've got. I did another video recently. More of a I have 2 videos that are like how to for noobs kind of a thing.
Okay,
how to use the Exodus wallet, how to use Coinbase, how to take stuff out of Coinbase and send it to your Exodus wallet, send it back, do an exchange on Exodus. How to use Mandela exchange, which is very similar to Binance. Okay. Stuff people might need to know, and I just did that one recently. So you'd see that in the last few posts somewhere.
Okay, very good. So folks, check that out. That is patreon.com/JSNIP4. And of course, you can find his work on YouTube here on his backup channel, Rebuilding a Community, down from 100,000 here with the last censorship purge here from the last couple of weeks. Joe and I were in that same boat. So please do go and hit that subscribe button there and show the guy some love, man. He's putting out a lot of great content. Penny, let's talk about those books, the brown robes, for the people who were just asking in the chat now, and also some of the courses and the newsletter here available at pennykelly.com or consciousnessonfire.com.
Okay. So the book that when I talk about the little man in brown robes, the name of the book is Robes, a book of coming changes, and it's on my site. Yep, there it is. And my site is download. If you want a physical book, you got to go to Amazon. But it's all the stuff that I saw about what the world is going to become after we get through this period. I saw all this crap happening. And when the U.S. breaks up, wow, it's a beautiful new world. So it's a very intense book. I will tell people, read it slowly. Beyond that, I have some other books. I've been deeply involved in research into consciousness, studying consciousness ever since Kundalini happened 43 years ago. I have classes. I teach people how to expand consciousness, how to develop and use intuition. I do a tea and consciousness on the first 3 Mondays of every month. And so we do some live streams on my Patreon now and then. So check it out. It's all there.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Penny. And Claudette Leblanc says, this was a great video. Thank you, JC, Penny, and Joe. Merci beaucoup, Claudette. She's from my neck of the woods, at least a few hours north of me, but still, she's a nice Canadian. Okay. And I love the French. All right. And so, folks, yes, please check out Penny here, too, the Tea in Consciousness and the forward-looking look-sees. So if you guys want to have those before everybody else, this is where you can find them on her Patreon at patreon.com/Penny Kelly. And, of course, she has snippets of this information and also her Tea and Consciousness videos here at Penny Kelly on her YouTube channel. Penny, one more time?
Yeah, I have videos on YouTube, on Odyssey, a whole bunch of podcasts, BitChute. So you can find me. I'm out there. Some people support me. I'm so grateful for that. But we try. This is a time when a lot of people need information. And so we try to put stuff out for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, before we end tonight, don't forget to go check out this new pay-per-view episode. The Beyond Crypto Woo is available now on pay-per-view. Coming up next after that, too, is this amazing tarot reading with Jenny Moonstone, who's back on the scene here. We're going to be going deeper on this Trump and Patton connection. And later this week, of course, we've got quite a few amazing shows. But again, here on the concept of the death of the dollar is Mr. Rob Kirby. He's coming on the 3rd of September at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I also have Bruce Cesal here coming back. All the crazy stuff happening on the moon. You'll see the poster there. He's coming back on September 7th. If you haven't seen the last 2 shows, I'm pointing them here to the screen. Guys, go check that out, man. There's so much there to see, and he's doing a fabulous job capturing all of this. And again, it matters because we're moving into that era as humans here to understand not only are we not alone, but we have a bigger role to play than the one that we've been playing thus far, or the one that we've been limited to thus far. All right, folks, that was the Wacky Woo. Wasn't it wacky? With JSNIP4 and Penny Kelly. I love you guys. Merci beaucoup, Joe. Merci beaucoup, Penny. And thank you so much, everyone, for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. And we'll see you in the next couple of days. I'm taking Monday and Tuesday off. Give me those 2 days, and we'll be back in force on Wednesday night with Tarot by Janine at 8 o'clock. Love you guys. Have a great evening. Au revoir.
Bye-bye.